record.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you. So we are now being recorded, and welcome once again for our overnight camp webinar. Super glad to see you. So let's take a look and we'll see what we're going to be doing tonight. So how this is going to run. Adam and I are going to talk a little bit, introduce topics, most of them that are in our parent guide. You'll meet us. We'll just very briefly talk a little bit about our camps. Some reminders about the camp schedule and how it's going to work this summer. And then what we're really going to spend the most of time on is looking at the parent guide and the forms that you need in order to come to camp. Then we'll talk a little bit about packing for camp, and we'll finish up with missing home. We'll get you all ready so you don't have to worry about that. We'll also get a little time at the end, and if you do have any questions, you can ask them through the chat. And then we'll be happy to answer them for you. So let's go ahead and we will get started. So I'll start off talking a little bit about myself. This is my 4th year with YMCA Buffalo Niagara. After the last 3 years, I have been at Camp Kenan and had the pleasure last summer to also be at Camp Weona. So I got to be in both places. This is my 25th summer working at camp. And I literally have spent most of my life being at camp, whether it is working at camp or being a camper or a CIT. And I've been at camps all over. So I've worked at camps in New York State, in Virginia, as well as Alaska. So I've been in many different places, worked with lots of different people and lots of different groups. My family consists of 3 fur babies that I have. I've got 3 dogs. This is Max that is shown here. He's my newest dog. And his favorite thing is to play with tennis balls. He was super excited. He got an entire case of tennis balls in the mail the other day as a gift. And that was really a highlight of his life. So that is a little bit about me. And of course, I am at Camp Kenan, and there's this little squiggle on the map. I'll try to fix that in a moment. But I'm at Camp Kenan, which is located closest to Barker, New York. We're about 30 minutes north of Lockport, and we are right on Lake Ontario. So you can see Lake Ontario from almost every part of camp, unless you're deep into the forest. Because we're right on the lake, we've got a really nice, gentle breeze that comes through all the time. So we don't have too many bugs, and it is also a little bit cooler than it is in the city. It's not uncommon for it to be at least 10 degrees cooler than it is just in Lockport. From the map, you can see kind of the big open area that's there closest to the lake. All our cabins kind of surround that open area. And that's, where they are. So you can kind of see them throughout wherever part of the camp that you are. And this summer, we are celebrating our 98th year in this same location. We're just 2 years away from our centennial, which is pretty awesome. So I'm going to turn it over to Adam now.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, that's me. Enjoying some kayaking a couple of years ago in the Adirondacks. So I've been at the YMCA here. This will be my 3rd year of summer camp. I joined in early 2020, and I've been doing camp for 11 years. So this is my 11th summer total. It's been at different camps, some day camps, some overnight camps. I went to camp as a kid, some day and overnight camps, and I feel I have a nice little blend of different, traditions from all different camps, and I can bring some of those here to Weona and learn all of Weona's special traditions too. I'm really looking forward to that, as it is my first summer here at Camp Weona. At camp, some of my favorite things to do would be kayaking or canoeing out on the lake. I love rock climbing and zip lining, and really just any sort of group games and team building and fun, silly sports and games, and anything that just the whole group gets to play and have fun and just be silly, because that's what's important nowadays, just to get outside, have fun, and run around and play. I've been at Camp Weona now. I just moved here a couple months ago, so I'm still learning a little bit, but it's almost 900 acres of woods and trails, and it's gorgeous campgrounds, and it's peaceful and quiet at night. And we can go into details about what camp looks like on the maps coming up, but it's a really gorgeous place, kind of a more woodsy feel, like you're out in the woods, but not too far from civilization. And that's me in Camp Weona.
Awesome. Oh, hold on. Gotta go backwards. There we go.
There we go. So I'm seated outside. I'm trying to enjoy the nice day here, nice evening. So I'm actually right where that red check mark is. That'll be where our pickup and drop off takes place. And as you can see, camp is pretty extensive and has different paths and trails, and 3 villages that our campers will stay at, and they'll be split up between the 2 or 3 villages, and get different experiences, and maybe try a new village, or maybe go back to one that they've been to before if they've been at camp. And this year is actually super special for Weona, as we are celebrating 125 years of Camp Weona. It's a really special thing that has come this far and can only get better and better. So I'm really excited to be here for the special year, but also to look forward and create more memories down the road and have another 125.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. So before we go too far, I have a poll for you. So what I want you to do is try to, be as interactive as possible while we're doing this. If you have a question as we're talking, feel free to put it in the chat and we'll try to come back to it later on. But the first thing that I want to do is I have a question for you. Our first question, let me launch it here, is which camp are you attending? Just go ahead and answer the first question for right now, and we can come back to the other one. So which camp are you attending? There, I'm gonna attend that one. Oh, it might ask you to, yeah, it's gonna ask you to answer all of them. So go ahead and answer them all. We'll come back and we'll look at the answers. So which camp are you attending? The second question is, what's the name of a staff at camp? And the third question is, what do you think will be your favorite camp meal? I'm gonna give you some choices there. I know what my favorite is. And then go ahead and
all
click
of the above
submit.
option for food.
You're
forcing us to pick one.
So I'll give you just a moment till we have most everybody answered. And again, go ahead and answer all 3. We'll come back and we'll talk more about those answers at the end. But the one we're really looking at right now is, which camp are you attending? I'm excited to hear. Okay, I'm going to give you a countdown from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me end the poll. Let's share the results. So for question number 1, which camp are you attending? We have Kenan, about 55. Weona is about 33, or we have a group that are attending both, and that is super awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. That is great. So we will come back to the other couple questions later, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why I asked them. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Beautiful. I'll turn it back over to Adam.
Yeah. So this summer, similar to last summer, if you were registered for any camp weeks last summer, we kind of have a dual summer that provides chances for kids to camp overnight at Camp Kenan and then at Camp Weona, which it sounds like a healthy split, and even some people signed up for both. So if you look below, I won't read through each item there in each line, but there are different kind of camp options that are catered towards, a camper's first time or a camper's age, or most often kind of a location if there's a camp that you're a little bit closer to. So if you are on this call, then you're registered for our roster or our wait list for camp, and hopefully we can have everyone come and join us to have fun. But as you can see there, we start the summer up at Camp Kenan, which Jen mentioned is in Barker, New York, and then come down to where I am at Camp Weona, close to Warsaw, New York. So a couple things to point out as you're looking through there, any of the dates or the pricing. You can look at some of the theme weeks there that are listed under the ages for our camps and traditional camp there. So all of our campers will do different activities and songs and games and sports and everything kind of inspired by some of those theme weeks there, which is a really fun thing we do out at camp. So for example, for campers at Weona, that week we're doing Pirates of Weona. What may look like a ropes course and a rock climbing wall may turn into trying to get aboard a pirate ship or something silly and fun like that. And we'll have different ways to show that and play different games and challenges. So themes are something you might hear your kid talking about. They were a pirate at camp, and that was probably inspired by a whole week of fun games and activities based on that. I like camp themes, and it helps our staff and our campers kind of look forward to different things they might be interested in. Jen, is there anything you wanted to add for that one?
The only thing I was going to add is that our themes are really, I kind of call it the icing on the cake. All of the kids do all of the traditional camp activities. So they're all going to get a chance to do the climbing wall and, eat in the dining hall and do archery and play games and, just have that camp experience. And then the theme just kind of adds a little bit to it. So it adds a lot into our evening activities or just, fun things or dress up that we do during the week. So if you don't necessarily get a theme week that you're looking for, don't feel that you're going to be missing any camp activities. It's really just that kind of icing on the cake. Perfect. So now I'm going to get into kind of the boring part of our webinar tonight. And when I say boring, it's kind of like paperwork, but it's all necessary so that we have a really great time at camp. I know when I was a camper and my parents got the parent guide, I asked them to go through and read it and tell me everything it said. What are we going to do? What are we going to eat? Who's going to be there? I wanted all the details. And that's what I really hope that you'll get a chance to do as well. Do read the parent guide, share it with your camper. Even if you've been to camp, a dozen times before, take time just to kind of review things. Every year is just a little bit different. And it's always important for us to, set really good expectations. And I think that really is what helps us to leads us into a successful week at camp. So at the beginning of your parent guide, you'll see a table of contents that really kind of goes through the basics of what's covered. And your parent guide has been emailed to everybody. So it was sent to both Kenan and Weona campers by email. So if you didn't receive it for some reason, you can check the parent Facebook groups, or please feel free to message Adam or myself, and we will send you a message that went out. There is a separate guide for Kenan and a separate one at Weona, but they are essentially identical in terms of our requirements and our staffing and arrival and departure details. All of those are the same because we are doing this meshed summer with half the summer at Kenan and half the summer at Weona. We are using essentially the same staff, the same nurse, a lot of the same things. So there is a separate one, but a lot of the information is identical. I'm going to go through some of the most important parts that are in this guide. The other thing I just want to say is we did have another webinar earlier in the year already. And in that webinar, we covered lots of the topics that are in the parent guide. And so I'm not going to be covering those in detail tonight. And so I would really encourage you, if you haven't seen that first webinar and you still have questions, to go back. That one is recorded. And again, if you don't have a link to that, we would be happy to send that to you. That's not a problem at all. So one of the most important things are what we call our participation requirements. And these are forms. It's paperwork, and it's not anything that, you know, we wish upon anybody. We don't want you to have to do more paperwork than is necessary. We want your kids just to come to camp and have fun. But these are requirements quite often from the Department of Health that we have to have on the campsite. It's also easier for the Department of Health to have those forms in paper copy. And so for them, having forms just electronically doesn't work. And with nearly 500 campers between the two camps, it is also, you know, troublesome for us to print, you know, 20 pages for each camper. We are more than welcome, you know, willing to help those. So if you don't have access to a printer, if you just can't get to the post office or to drop it off, you know, we have alternatives. So don't ever hesitate to ask if something appears to be a challenge for you. That's not a problem. Again, our goal is we want your kids to come to camp and have a great time. I am going to go through briefly each of these forms that are required for participation. The first is a camper registration information form. Then there's a medication administration form, a health history form, summer food service form, and then is an access for all program application form, in addition to a printout of immunization records. The first one is your registration form, and this is in addition to the very basic electronic information that you did when you first signed up for camp. That was basically, let me hold my spot to go to camp. This is the other information we need. This includes where you live, who is authorized to pick up your children. This is all the basics that we need front and center when your camper comes to camp. So this form is the first one that is necessary. You'll also see that one question that people ask a lot about is bunkmate request. And so if your camper has somebody who they want to stay with at camp, and that person also wants them to stay with them, this is where you would just make sure to indicate that on here. It's also a quick yes or no. Is your child bringing medications? Do they have any emergency medications that they're going to have? Those are all things that are right here at the front of this form. And you'll see each of the forms also kind of has a little letter on it. So the registration form has an R, just easy for us and for you to be able to distinguish between them. The second form is our M form. So this is medication administration. And I'll be honest, this is the form that challenges the most people. And we understand that. But again, the requirements that are given to us by the New York State Licensing Department or the Department of Health. It is 2 pages. The first page is basically for parents. It starts off asking, is your child allowed to apply or get help applying sunscreen and bug spray? And this is a New York State requirement. We have to ask you if they're allowed to have it. Otherwise, they would need to have a doctor's order. But they've given special allowance that for sunscreen and bug spray, you don't have to have a doctor's order, but we do have to have parent signature for it. So that's the first question, just a parent signature. Second question has to do with over-the-counter medications. At each of our camps, we have a small number of over-the-counter meds that we might give a child if they weren't feeling well. And the list is on the next page. There are things like triple antibiotic ointment or Tylenol, ibuprofen, Benadryl, just very basic medications that you probably have in your own cupboard at home, and you don't necessarily think twice if your child isn't feeling well and giving them. If your child is allowed to have over-the-counter medications, the ones that we keep in our cupboard at camp, we need 2 things for that. We need your permission first. And that's where this question comes in, where you would print and sign your name. And if you do allow that, then your physician does have to sign off on the second page of this form. And so that's where the doctor's order comes in. So section B, you see in red there, says physician. This is where we need permission from a doctor. So it could be your doctor's office. Doesn't necessarily have to be a doctor. It can be a physician's assistant, somebody who's licensed with your doctor's office that just says, yeah, they can have over-the-counter medications when they're at camp. No problem. Just make sure, they're reading the label and giving them as directed. So that requires a doctor's signature. The second thing that would require a doctor's signature is if your child takes any routine medications, and that includes vitamins, allergy medications, anything that comes in a bottle that is used to help somebody alleviate some type of symptoms or is used to control some type of symptoms, something they take on a regular basis. Again, this includes vitamins, it includes allergy medication, it includes anything they take on a routine basis. That has to have a doctor's signature. That is a requirement from the licensing board because our nurse is not allowed to administer any medications unless they have a doctor's order to do so. So it may be something you want to, discuss with your doctor. Is this a medication, an allergy medication that needs to be taken while at camp? Is this a supplement or a vitamin that needs to be taken while at camp? Of course, we want your kids to have whatever it is that they need for their medical needs. But some folks decide, well, maybe they don't need their Flintstone vitamin when they're at camp. And of course, that's a discussion that you would need to have with your doctor. Those are the only signatures that we need from a physician. We do not require a physical. We don't require anything else. It's just for taking medications. And unfortunately, if we don't have a doctor's signature for either over-the-counter medications or routine medications, they can't take it while they're at camp. So just keep that in mind and get that to your doctor as soon as possible if you are going to have your kid, your camper, take them while they're at camp. Okay, so the poll question number 2 that we had, because that was kind of a heavy discussion. We want to kind of look at our poll here again. Let's look at question number 2. Question number 2 was, what's the name of a staff member at camp? And here's our results that we have here. The results that I have. One person said soup is somebody's name. 6 people said tracer is somebody's name. 10 people said all of the above. And 13 people said none of the above. So that's the winning answer. So the majority of people said no, nobody's name at camp could be soup, tracer, or Jay. That is just silly. Well, I'm here to tell you, friends, that all of those names are staff members at camp. So this is kind of a funny thing. Remember, camp is super special, but all of our staff members have camp names. My camp name at camp is Jay. It's pretty similar to Jennifer, so it's pretty easy to remember. And if somebody yells it across camp, I know who they're talking to. But we also have staff members whose names are Soup and Tracer and Casey, and who knows who else could possibly be at camp. Adam, do you have a camp name?
I don't have a camp name yet. I am neither Soup nor Tracer. I wanted to make it clear that I am neither of those people.
Okay.
I guess I'm yet to receive my name. So this summer I have a good feeling.
Yeah, and I've been told if you don't choose your own name, it will be chosen for you. So
I've heard that as well.
Yeah, you better come up with one pretty soon.
Sounds good. No pressure.
It's just something fun that we do at camp because, camp is unlike really any other place, I feel, in the world. It's different than school. It's different than home. And, we like to play and we like to have fun. And sometimes camp names are just one of the ways that we do that. Back to the forms. Our third form we've got here is H, or the health history form. And this is just filled out by parents, doesn't need a doctor's signature. This is just letting us know some, health history about your camper. Things like, do they have allergies? Do they have any special dietary needs? Are there any restrictions when they're coming at camp? It could be something, a restriction could be something as simple as my child can't swim very well. You just want to make sure that you let us know that they shouldn't swim in the deep end, or that they're afraid of heights. In fact, they're just really afraid of heights. And so please don't encourage them to go to the top of the climbing wall. You could put things in that you said, I think maybe it's gonna work. If we ever have a question about that, we'll reach out to you. So don't hesitate. General health history are, again, things required by the health department. Has your child had measles, mumps, rubella? Do they have any heart conditions or heart disease? There's just a whole list there, and you just simply mark yes or mark no. And if it's a yes that you feel requires some additional information, you can just jot down that in there. The immunization record can be filled in by hand, or you can, and this is what majority of people do, is just get a written document from their school or from their doctor's office. They usually can just print that off real easy. Please don't, again, hesitate. If you're having trouble, if the only thing that's holding you up is getting a current immunization record from your doctor's office, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, because we also have access to an immunization record clearinghouse that we can quite often secure those documents for you. So Bridget, who is our office manager at the Lockport Y, she can usually get that information. So don't ever let that be a barrier. Then there's a question about any additional mental, emotional, social, or behavioral needs or challenges that your camper have. This is in no way going to bar your child from coming to camp. It's just going to help us to be able to prepare our staff and to help your camper have the most successful time that they can have at camp. If your child is really afraid of thunderstorms, and that's something that we need to know, that's something that we can help our staff prepare for, because if there's a big storm, we want to know that they're not going to be happy about that. If there was, for example, a close family member that recently passed, and it bothers them sometimes, we want to know something like that so we can be prepared. If there's a trigger, or if there's some kind of a challenge that they have that causes them to behave in a way that isn't common, just let us know. Our dining halls, for example, can sometimes be super noisy if the kids are talking or yelling or singing. And if that makes you anxious, that's not a place you may want to be. And so if we know that, we can help your camper to be prepared for that, and just to help them to be successful. Then I love to place for what didn't we ask? What's something else that you know about your camper that we don't, that you think that might be helpful to us? Were they really looking forward to making a s'more? And camp just will not be complete without it. Let us know. We'll make sure we try. We'll do our very best to make sure that happens. Okay. So do fill out your health history as completely as possible. And if you ever have any challenges or questions, you can always reach out to us. Another form that is in here does not need to be completed by everyone, although it greatly helps both of our camps to be able to provide healthy, fresh food during the summer. Both Kenan and Weona are part of the summer food service program. This is similar, but a little bit different to the free lunch program that the schools offer. It is different, so it doesn't have exactly the same requirements, but this should be filled out by anybody whose children or families receive SNAP or TANF, who are foster children, or basically if your income in your household is below $60,000, it enables us to get a reimbursement from the federal government to provide food during the summer. If you're wondering about eligibility, there is a link in the parent guide that you can read it. But again, if you're receiving SNAP or your child's receiving SNAP, you just have to put their name and their case number. You don't have to put any other income information. Otherwise, you kind of follow down and there's information, everybody who's in your household and income that's coming in. It really does help us to be able to provide good food during the summer. So we appreciate you completing that. There's another poll here. Hold on. So our third question that I was asking you all was what meal you might be looking forward to this summer. And the options were breakfast parfaits with yogurt, fruit, and granola, a baked potato bar with your choice of toppings, Thanksgiving dinner, or cookout over the campfire. Well, the overwhelming winner with 19 out of 33 people who took it was cooking out over the campfire, which is awesome because it's something we do at camp. In fact, every single one of these meals is a meal that we have at camp. So be looking forward to all of them. I really try when I'm working on the menu to choose things that are kid friendly and that you can help choose. And so if we're having sandwiches, I'm not going to pre-make your sandwich for you. You get to kind of choose what's on it. Same thing with your baked potato bar. You'll get the potato, but then you can decide what you want. You want cheese? You want bacon bits? Do you want chili? Really, it's about your choice. And so there's lots of options. Now, cooking out on the campfire can be challenging because number one, you have to be able to start the campfire, which sometimes can be hard. But then you got to put everything together and then you got to cook it. But it's super fun. You get to do it outside. It usually comes with a marshmallow and a s'more too. Last year, we had a couple different choices of things we did out on the campfire. We did pizza bagels. So you got to choose what toppings you wanted on your bagel-sized pizza. And then we also roasted hot dogs some weeks. So it's different each week, but we try to do things that are easy and that you get to choose as well. Okay. The very last form that we have some folks fill out is our Access for All program support application. This is for anybody who might be receiving some financial assistance to enable them to come to camp. We have some folks in our Lawyers for Learning program through St. Vincent de Paul, Friends of Camp Kenan, all different kinds of scholarships, including our YMCA scholarship program, our Access for All program. So if you're getting one of those, getting funds from any of those scholarships, we just ask you to fill out this program support application just so we can keep it on file, simple, and you can just hand that in. It's all confidential. We take care of it. The reason I mention Access for All is because it is so important to what we do at the YMCA. Last year, the Y was able to give over $825,000 to over 2,800 local families, enabling them to participate in our YMCA programs. And this year we are really excited because we're having a day just for overnight camp to be able to raise funds to send kids to camp. And so this is something you can put on your calendar that you can help us with as well, because you don't have to donate. You could also just help by promoting the event. You can become a person who sends out information to other people through social media to request financial assistance. But our Kids to Camp Day of Giving is going to be this coming Wednesday, June 22nd, so in just a couple weeks. You'll see information on our Facebook pages, on our parent pages, on the YMCA page about how you can donate or how you can become someone who can, try to solicit and to get donations coming in as well. Every donation that comes in on this day will go towards sending kids to Kenan and Weona. And so this is we're really excited about this because to us, going to camp is one of the most important things that a kid can do. And so whatever you can do to assist us with that would be great as well. So keep a lookout. And if you want any more information, you can reach out to us as well. Okay, back to you, Adam.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to come inside. My computer needed a little recharging.
That's okay.
So before camp, myself and Jennifer are available by our phone and emails as much as possible. And obviously there's a lot going on, and we will absolutely do our best to make sure that we're answering questions or making sure registration is all set, or getting feedback or thoughts, whatever you're sharing our way. We're happy to help out. Another person Jennifer mentioned is Bridget, who is our office manager for both camps at Kenan and Weona. So if you see the Lockport, or if you see, that address that's not Weona, that's still correct. It's up at Lockport. She's helping us, keep everything in order and getting us ready for camp in different ways for the accounts and billing and payments as listed there. During the camp season, we'll definitely be a little more on the move, out and about at camp. And again, we will do our best as much as we can. For me, myself, I always recommend people email, because my phone can pick up emails throughout the day, and I'll be answering those throughout the day. The phone is good, and I will get to the messages as well, but a little less frequently. Jennifer, do you have any preference, or both good? Or
Yeah, no, I agree. Email tends to be the best way to get a hold of me as well, because I am rarely in the office. Even just today when I was out at Kenan, because we had a school group there, I was at the computer for maybe 15 minutes total throughout the whole day. But at the end of the day, I was able to come back and catch up on emails. The other thing is, we're people too, and we make mistakes and we get busy. And so if there's ever a time that you sent a message and you just don't feel that you've gotten a message back in a timely manner, don't hesitate to reach back out again. I always try to respond within 24 to 48 hours, but again, sometimes things just happen. So don't ever hesitate to reach out again.
Absolutely. I even changed my cell phone service provider just so I can have better reception out here at Weona. So I am ready to answer emails and calls as best as I can. So that is how to get in touch with us before and during camp. For speaking with your own kids, your campers that you're sending to us, there are a few different ways you can get some messages to them. They can be things that are encouraging, or I hope you have fun today, or remember we talked about trying to get halfway up that rock wall, I know you can do it, or just anything like that. We try and say keep it happy and upbeat, and just being there and encouraging them to have fun, but really focusing on you're at camp, make sure you're having fun and doing your best, and really focusing on cheering them on for being at camp. A couple different ways you can do that. You can send them the mail a couple days beforehand, just because it will take a couple days to get out to our respective camps. Being proactive will help out, and then it'll kind of time it where once they're here, they'll receive the mail. You can also drop off some general messages and mail the day of drop off at camp. So you can send out some of those encouraging notes or notes from home at camp, that can be distributed throughout the week. And we'll see those if you label them Monday through Friday, or whichever days you'd like them to be opened up. We're happy to give it to them. And some kids will really look forward to them throughout the week. So you can surprise them with it. You can ask the campers, how many letters they might want to receive, but it is a popular thing. So they wouldn't be alone being the only one getting mail. We'll be going through delivering, and the kids will look forward to it. Jen, do you mind talking about that Google form link that's there? Is that in the parent guide?
Yeah, so in the parent guide, there is a special link. It's just a Google form where you can type in the name of your camper. If you want, you can send them. Basically, it's an email message. Again, upbeat, happy, but it's just something, you don't have to worry about doing it a couple days ahead of time. Maybe their brother or sister had a game the night before, and you want to say, hey, I just want to let you know that Robert won his game last night. So something that's more timely. We just ask that you kind of limit it to one message a day, so that we're not printing a million letters every morning. And again, the way that works is we'll collect those messages from the Google form, usually in the morning. So I always say by 10 a.m., have your message in, we print them off, and then we include them right with the regular mail. So we fold them up, put the camper's name on it and put it right with the regular mail, and they get them that day.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay. So for our electronics, I had a lot of questions about this at the open house, and it was nice to kind of fill everyone in there. So our camps are electronics free, which means completely free. Please do not bring them. They're not permitted. And that's for a couple of good reasons. So for electronics, that would include their cell phones, of course, tablets and iPads or anything like that, you know, small computers, their handheld games, the Nintendo Switch and everything, leave them at home. Even smartwatches, leave them at home. For one reason, we definitely don't want anyone to lose anything. I know, you know, if someone brought something and lost it, it might have the chance to kind of ruin their week, and they'll be thinking about it and be upset, of course. So we don't want that to happen. But mainly we want people to enjoy camp. We want the kids to be outside, playing with their friends, having fun, you know, doing the things that they're looking forward to doing, trying new things. Hopefully we will not even have time for the kids to be missing their phone or their tablet or their game. Our goal is to keep them busy, and hopefully at the end of the day, when heads hit the pillows, they're you know, down and resting up for the next day. So a couple other notes here on the slide, with the exception of a flashlight. If it requires a plug, electricity, or batteries, please don't bring it. Campers are not permitted to call home or use the camp phone. I was asked this at our open house, you know, how often the parents can talk to their campers. And mostly the reason for that is it's just going to kind of make them think about being home or coming home, or, you know, the things that they might be missing out on at home. We really just want to give them some healthy room to enjoy camp, even if it's hard the first night or second night. You know, by the end of the week, hopefully they're ready to go home, but had a really nice, worthwhile week at camp, you know, on their own, learning some responsibility and independence. I found it's sort of tougher for some parents and families and guardians to not be able to call their campers, but trust us that they're having fun and they are safe, of course. And I'm sure they're missing you just like you're missing them, but it helps them have a much more worthwhile week to not be able to call home. That being said, of course, that when it is needed for different reasons and for any emergencies or concerns that might come up, we will be in communication, and you know, ourself and our camp nurse and our staff will always be there ready to solve any problems or address any concerns. And of course, we have everyone's contact information, so we're not going off the grid or you know, not completely without communication, but we're just trying to give the campers the best experience they can. And this is kind of a tough one for them, of course, but hopefully they're excited to be outside, not need their phone, and after a day or two, maybe even forget about it.
Yeah, I'll just want to add, I had a discussion with a young man who was our open house, and him and his mom were asking this as well. And he said, I'm glad. He said, I'm glad we won't have our phones. He goes, because you know what? Sometimes I spend a little bit too much time on it. And I was really, you know, excited to hear that, because I think the kids do realize it. And again, it's not about having them disconnect fully from you. It's really about having them start to maybe make some decisions on their own. So often there's simple decisions like, should I have ketchup or mustard, or can I have 2 of this rather than 1? That, you know, we want them to be able to start thinking and evaluating that on their own. And we realize that it's challenging for the kids and it's hard for you. And that's why, you know, we try our hardest to keep them so busy throughout the day. We know that going to bed at night is tough. And especially if they're used to listening to music or having the TV on, you know, and our counselors try to alleviate that. So, they have a quieter time at night. They may be reading a story. If it comes down to it, kids are still restless, they have music that they can put on that's appropriate. I've gone into a cabin of boys before who just wouldn't go to sleep, and I got my phone out and I played classical music for them. And let me tell you, within 5 or 10 minutes, they were all sleeping. So sometimes it's just kind of having that chance to calm their minds. And, we're aware of how challenging it is. It's really challenging for our staff as well. So, we're aware of that, and we're going to try to help out as much as we can.
Jen, I'm going to need whichever song got the cabin to fall asleep.
Yeah, I will. I think I've got it on a playlist.
All right, so we have our Facebook parent groups that are a resource for parents to, get excited for camp, to, share any questions, or, for especially new parents or families that want to kind of hear about camp from, returning families. That's a nice place where you can kind of get a different perspective. Because I'm sure there's stuff that, the parents will have heard different things from their campers that, we haven't got to hear after pickup on our pickup days. So some things to look for on that parent group. And there are different parent groups for each of the camps. So look for your Camp Kenan or Camp Weona or both parent groups if you're interested. So we'll be posting things throughout the year. Like in the next few weeks, some of our posts for our Day of Caring, our Day of Giving, fundraising. Throughout the summer, we're going to be posting about camp, doing our best to capture all different moments and fun that we're doing out at camp, posting photos, posting videos of all of us having fun. We are not able to, get every single moment, every single camper doing each activity at camp. Showing what each camper had for their lunch that day. What we're going to do is make sure we can include as many people as possible doing a whole range of activities at each of the camps. So we'll do our best to make sure we really get a nice snapshot so you can see what we're doing, see what camp looks like if you've never seen camp before. But that's a great place to start following those Facebook groups.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I don't usually do those updates until I come back to my house at the end of the day. And so if you may not get that message until 11 o'clock at night. So don't wait up, don't be anxious. You don't need to message and, check where it is. Probably plan on every morning waking up and there'll be an update there for you. It'll be just an exciting little piece of news, like you're pulling out the newspaper for the day. But that also, I think, shows you, I stay at camp until the campers are asleep, and so I don't tend to come home until that point. And so that's why usually at the end of the night is when I'm sending you that update and posting those photos. So.
Okay. Jennifer mentioned it earlier. We had a webinar a couple weeks ago that you ran, Jennifer, and you did a great job talking about kind of more of the cabins and dining hall areas and what camp looks like and feels like. If anyone's interested in those, they are posted on the Facebook pages, and you can just scroll down a couple links and you can see that webinar there. Get a little snapshot of what some of the bunks look like and the maps of camps and kind of what camp will look and feel like a little bit more than we're describing just in words here. What we went through is our different activities that we do at camp. They are fairly similar between the two camps. What happens if anyone is sick or hurt, kind of, reassuring everyone that there's always a plan and everyone will be taken care of. If you haven't got to see it, I'd recommend going through that. I know I just kind of was coming to Weona as that was being shared, and it helped me learn quite a few things, and even just the menu of the meals and learning about our Taco Tuesday and potato bars and all sorts of fun. So it was really worthwhile for me to watch, and it got me, caught up to speed a little bit about, all different ins and outs of camp. So if you didn't get to watch that, you can watch that, share it with your camper too. It was aimed for both kids and parents. So make sure that you share that if you'd like to as well.
Perfect. So let's get to some more things that are in our parent guide. This is a question that I got a lot from parents and kids. Had to do with, what do we pack? Where's the packing list? The packing list is towards the end of the parent guide, and it's geared for a week-long stay at camp. So if you're going to be a first experience camper, you don't need to pack as many outfits, but you still need to have a sleeping bag and a towel and all the basics. So again, if you're a first experience camper, just don't bring as many outfits with you, okay? You want to bring items that can get dirty. It rains, it's muddy, we are outside all day long. And so you don't need new clothes, you don't need new shoes, things are gonna get dirty, they're gonna get muddy, and it's okay. So just plan on, that. Label everything with your camper's name. So in the back of their shirts or on their towels, on their water bottle, put their initials, let them know what it looks like. I don't know how many kids I'll put up a towel and I'll say, who does this belong to? And nobody will claim it. It doesn't belong to anybody. So make sure they know what it is that you're packing, and how to identify it. Worst thing you could probably do is go out to Walmart and buy a whole bunch of new things and pack them in their suitcase, and the kids don't know what's in there. So have the kids help you pack, so they know what's in there, that they have shirts, that they have shorts, that they have underwear and socks, and where it is in their bags. So help them, have them help you do that. So before we go on, now the packing list definitely tells you things that you should bring to camp, but what are some things that you should not bring to camp? So put this in the chat box. Every camper should try to put something in here. What are some things you should not bring to camp? Of course, Adam just got done telling you can't bring any electronics. So what else do we have? We've got junk food and weapons and knives. These are all great things you should not bring. No devices or phones. No flamethrowers. You are correct. We do not need any flamethrowers. Electronics again. No, yeah, Larry can't come. Larry is somebody's dog. A laser pointer. Another flamethrower. Pets. Pet chicken, yeah, that would be fun, but no pet chickens. Fireworks, yeah, those are all things you should not bring. So great, you guys are thinking already about things that you shouldn't bring. And the things that you shouldn't bring are mostly because they could be dangerous, or we could lose them. Somebody just said, is gum allowed? I wouldn't bring gum. Just because it can get sticky. We'll talk a little bit about food here in just a second, and about snacks and things that you shouldn't bring. Hold on, I skipped a slide. So on your packing list, there's a whole section of things that you shouldn't bring. And this is not all inclusive. So I'm sure you could think of things that you can't bring. Just like somebody said not to bring their dog Larry. I didn't put Larry on this list, but you knew you shouldn't bring it. So first thing, don't bring electronics. It's wet, it's dirty. They can get lost, so don't bring them. Don't bring things that are new or expensive. Okay? Just don't need to. And I put here NCA. So those are things that are not camp appropriate. So things like electronics. You don't need to bring a bunch of toys or weapons, firearms, alcohol, tobacco, drugs, any of those things. You don't need to bring clothing that has inappropriate logos or sayings on it. Think about what you could or you can't bring to school, and you probably can't bring it to camp either, okay? If you ever have a question, you can always ask. Now, what happens if somebody brings one of these to camp? If it's an item like a phone, we will kindly hold it for you until checkout, and we will hand it over to mom or dad. So anything that we find that is not supposed to be at camp, we will take it. We'll hold it in the camp office. I have a special spot in my office for it, and we will give it to parents at the end of the week. So don't think that you can just hide it and mom and dad won't know about it, because we will give it directly to them. If it is something that is illegal or harmful, we will also take it. We will contact parents or guardians, and if necessary, we will also contact law enforcement. So please don't even bother. Don't try to sneak it. Don't try to bring it. Just don't. In most cases, we do not have any problems with this, but just an extra warning about that. A couple other reminders for the packing list. Bring gym shoes and socks. That's what you should be wearing all the time around camp. So shoes that have ties and socks that go in them. In general around camp, you can't wear sandals, flip-flops, or Crocs. You could wear a flip-flop or a shower shoe if you're going boating or shower room, but for the most part, gym shoes and socks are what you're going to want to wear all the time. There's too many things on the ground that you could stub your toes on or could prick you or sting you, and we don't want that to happen. So gym shoes and socks.
And Jen, if I could jump in, that
Yep.
extends for Crocs to what the kids have told me is called four-wheel drive, when the back of the Croc is behind the ankle. That does not magically turn it into a sneaker. So
Correct.
that is not a appropriate footwear that wouldn't be camp ready. And I've also had campers that bring brand new sneakers out of the box because they want awesome new sneakers ready for camp that are not broken in yet, or maybe not the right size. So I would just recommend, wearing that shoe a couple days before camp. If it is new, do not go out and buy brand new sneakers for camp. But if you are buying something new, just make sure it's good and not right out of the box from the store.
Yep. Just some cheap old tennis shoes that can tie are fine enough. They fit, wear some socks with them, and you will be golden.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you pack your things in? I recommend a small duffel bag or a couple small duffel bags. A smaller rolling bag is usually okay too, but not a huge one, or even a small suitcase. At both camps, the campers are going to need to carry their items a small distance, not long. At Weona, we will gather all of their items and they'll be taken up by truck to their unit, but they still have to be able to carry it from where the truck dropped it off to their cabin. At Kenan, they'll just have to kind of roll it over to their cabins, which aren't a very far distance at all. Please do not bring huge plastic totes or trunks because campers can't carry them. There's also, when you get into the cabin, there's just not room for them. And so they kind of really inhibit the kids being able to move around in the cabin. You really want to have some things that are smaller that can roll underneath your bunk or can sit, just beside it and not be in the way. You also want to make sure you've got a small backpack to take with you during the day, to put your water bottle, your bug spray in, to put your swimming stuff. Just something small like you would take to school with you, that you can carry around with you all the time. And I suggest like a small drawstring mesh bag to put your shower stuff in, the water can drip out of it and everything won't stay wet. So that's something good that you can have. Getting your bed ready. The kids that I talked to at open house were really excited about, where am I going to put my sleeping bag and how am I going to set up my bed? At both camps, there's bunks that are in them. They all have mattresses that are on them, but you need to bring what you're going to be comfortable with to sleep at night. So here's kind of what I suggest. I suggest that on top of your mattress, you have a sheet. So like a fitted sheet can go over your mattress, just a regular twin size, doesn't have to fit perfect. You can see mine's all wrinkly. I like to have that on top of my mattress so I'm not all slipping around and stuff. And then I like to put just a regular flat sheet. If you just have two flat sheets, that's fine too, or you just want one flat sheet. I just like something underneath my sleeping bag in case it gets hot at night. because you don't want to get into your sleeping bag if it's really, really hot. You get all sweaty. So I like a fitted sheet and then a flat sheet. And then I put my sleeping bag on top of it. And you can even unzip your sleeping bag and put it on top of your bed, just like it's a comforter. Then that way you can crawl underneath your sheets. If it's hot, you can put off your sleeping bag. If it's cold, you can crawl in your sleeping bag, or you can just put it over on top of you. You'll want to top off your sleeping bag with a nice pillow. This, of course, is my dinosaur pillowcase. And with whatever stuffed animal or squishmallow that you want. You don't need to bring much else. I would really limit it to one stuffed animal or one squish, because they'll roll off your bed and they'll get dusty and you'll be sad. So I try to limit it so you don't have too much on your bed. But this is kind of how I set things up. And this is kind of how it looks inside the cabin. So the cabin that my squish is on would be like a typical camper cabin. And then the single bed that is there would be where the counselor is. And so I have my turtles there that are getting ready to read a book. So this is kind of what your typical cabin would look like and how you would get things set up. Other thing that campers ask me is, well, how do I know where I'm going to stay? We let you know that when you check in on your check-in day. I arrange all campers based on age, and I'm sure Adam will do the same thing. I just kind of take an Excel spreadsheet and sort them by age, but then I also look to see if anybody requested a buddy or somebody they wanted to stay with. And then I make sure to assign those as well. So you don't have to worry, as long as you've put those on your forms, who you've requested to be in your cabin, we'll make sure to do that. As long as they are within a couple years of the same age, because, you know, we want to be with friends that are your same age and have your same interests. If you have a question about that, you can reach out to us. We can help you. And then if you feel that your camper really should be on a bottom bunk, just for safety reasons, let us know that as well, because we can pass that on to their counselor. All the kids, though, go together to their cabins and they'll pick out what bunk they want to be, what other campers they maybe want to be next to, and the counselors will help them to set up their beds and bring their luggage in, and will kind of mitigate any arguments about, top or bottom or whatever, when they get into their cabins. Okay, I'm going to give this one to you, Adam.
Sounds good. Can you see and hear me? I think I
Yes.
got out of the Zoom. Okay. My computer's a little funky today. All right. So can they bring snacks? Yes. If they are interested, if you are interested in sending with snacks, they are welcome, with a couple suggestions and guidance. They will have 3 meals a day at camp, and they're healthy, filling meals, so they will not be without food or be hungry throughout the day. But to have some comfort food, some snacks, it might be nice for them to have something that they recognize from home too. So if you look on the right there, something like that, a small container, kind of a shoebox size of a small plastic snack box will be good. They'll be set for that. That will last them throughout the week. We will have snacks as well that will be throughout the day. So again, they will not go hungry. They will have food. They will be great, feeling great, lots of energy, ready for camp. Please make sure that there's nothing in those totes that have nuts in them, to be conscious of any other needs that some other campers might have. It's just a good rule there. We do not need any soda or drinks. They definitely don't need anything like that that's in there. And please label with your camper's name, so there's no mix up of whose snack box is whose, and everyone has what they need. But please make sure it's all healthy, good stuff that won't slow them down throughout the day. I know myself, I always have a Cliff Bar in my bag, something like that that can kind of fill you up for a little bit, and nice and quick and easy. So yes, snacks are permitted. Just we ask everyone put them in those sealable plastic totes.
Yeah, and do you really limit the size? They really should be shoebox size. I had some campers last year who brought some rather big boxes. We do not store the snacks inside the cabins for obvious reasons, mostly being because of rodents. So squirrels, chipmunks, and mice really like to snack on your snacks too. So we don't want to have them in the cabin. So usually we'll assign a time where people can go get their snacks and eat them outside the cabins. So we don't have to worry about that. And just for storage reasons, we've got like 80 kids a week. And so we have to have space to store all of those little plastic containers. So shoebox size is perfect. This is a typo in it because I was typing it very quickly at the end. I'm sorry. But the question is, do I need to bring money to camp?
Money to camp. You do not need money at camp. If you're interested in using any money for a camp purpose, we have our camp fundraisers that are going on with our apparel sales here. T-shirts, hoodies, lots of fun things. For Weona specifically, there are a couple that have a unique, just for this year, 125 logo that have been designed to celebrate our 125th anniversary at camp. So you can check those out. The deadline for Kenan, is it still tomorrow, Jen?
Still tomorrow, yep.
So tomorrow, June 9th. So right after the Zoom, go grab something for Kenan. And then for Weona, it is July 8th because we're a little later in the season. I actually just put in my order today, so I'll have my 125 for the summer.
Yep, and they'll all be delivered directly to our camp. And so whatever week you're attending, those items will be there ready for you, and you can just pick them up. They're all, you'll already have paid for them. They'll just be waiting there for you. Perfect.
So our next question, do we take swim tests? Yes, we will have our pool managers and our lifeguard instructors facilitating our swim tests, just so they can get a better understanding of where each camper is at as far as their skill level of swimming. For some campers, it might be their first time swimming, or they're very early swimmers. Some are going to be like my niece, I call her, just she's a fish in the pool and, you know, swimming around, and all are good. All will be safe and welcome to participate in swimming if they would like to. That happens right on the first or second day of camp, as soon as we can, so that way all the campers are ready to go in the pool, to go in the pond, and know where they're at comfort level wise, and where our lifeguards can kind of assess where all the kids are at. Below that, do we take showers? Yes, after swim times, we will have access to rinsing off or doing kind of a more full shower if they're interested in doing that. At Weona, the showers are located right next to the pool, so it's the same changing area the showers are in. So right after they get out, they can go get their rinse off, get their, you know, shower if they have time and interest in doing that. And at Kenan, it says here the showers are located in the 2 restroom shower houses.
Yeah, our showers and our restrooms at Kenan are separate from the pool, so they just have to walk a little ways. Whereas at Weona, they are connected to the pool. So I kind of had this divided in half. If Adam, you want to take the first half, and then I'll take the second half. But the question is, what can we do to prepare for camp? What are some things that maybe we could practice while we're at home to be ready for camp?
Sure. So some things you can suggest, and you know, some campers might be doing this already, or some can try out different things. Making your bed is helpful. Just kind of knowing, you know, a good place to have their sheets, or, you know, sleeping bag and pillow, and kind of so it's not just a big jumbled mess at the end of the day. Getting up and kind of straightening their bed out might be a helpful thing to just let them feel more comfortable at night, going right into a cozy, already ready bed. Changing clothes privately, you can, you know, give them suggestions on how to do that. Going to bed at night without TV or music playing. I always recommend bringing a book or two to camp if there's something that they want to hold their flashlight while there's still some time for doing that, and read a little bit, just to unwind, or if they're a bookworm, they can enjoy it, but just something like that without TV or music. So that way, when they're at camp, they, you know, aren't wanting that or distracted thinking about missing that. Going to the bathroom at night with a flashlight. So give them a flashlight. go out and let them pick out a fun color flashlight, and nothing fancy, just something, you know, good that can kind of help them walk around and feel excited and ready to be at camp, and let them practice going between their bedroom and the bathroom at night using that flashlight. Picking out their own clothes would be helpful, especially like Jen mentioned, when we are holding up all different clothes at the end of the day and we don't know whose is whose. If they are picking out their own clothes, helping pack their gear for the week, that will help us out at camp when at Weona, I call it our fashion show. And, you know, we put on music and show off different items, and it'll just make everything a little quicker, and then they can grab their socks or shorts that they were missing from earlier. Last thing I'll mention is putting dirty clothes in a laundry bag or a hamper. I always just do kind of a simple garbage bag or a couple different, you know, plastic bags if you have them there for something that's extra wet. That's just a nice way of sorting through what is clean. So what's in my duffel bag, and if it's in the, you know, black garbage bag, it's probably not clean, and we're going to leave that there, you know, for laundry at home. So just practicing doing that, a little self-responsibility, and the counselors will be there to assist or help them out, or, you know, remind them that they wore that blue shirt yesterday and put on a clean, fresh shirt for the day. But those things will kind of go a long way at camp.
Yep, absolutely. Other things you can have them just practice, because they'll be doing at camp, just taking a shower, washing and rinsing their hair. Quite often we run into kids who have never taken a shower before. And again, the counselors can help turn on the water if needed, because sometimes it's challenging, but having them do that. How about just, you know, hanging up their towel after taking a shower or going into the pool? So instead of putting that wet towel into their dirty laundry or on the floor, hanging it up so that it will dry for the next day. Putting on their sunscreen and their insect repellent is a good thing to practice, or just washing their hands frequently. We do encourage kids to wash hands before they go into a meal, after they go into a meal, and anytime that they're using items that other people have used. So just, you know, washing hands is a good thing. Carrying and filling a water bottle. They will constantly be told while they're at camp, where's your water bottle? Where's your water bottle? Is it full? And if kids aren't used to carrying the water bottle and having it full, that's something that can be challenging as well. And if your camper hasn't been away from home before, you might want to do a trial run. Have them spend a night at grandma's house or at one of their friends or their cousins' houses, and just to see how it is to be away from home. The most important thing that I can encourage you to have your camper do, though, is ask for help when they need it. Let them know that if they ever have a question or they need something, their counselors are there to help them. But they don't always know that they need their help unless they ask. So let them know that their counselors are there. I've had kids, you know, who've gone through the whole week who didn't change their underwear. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but they couldn't find their underwear and they didn't bother to ask anybody to help them. And so the counselors try to give the kids a little bit of independence, but they're not necessarily going to check to make sure everybody's done that. So if they have a question, they should definitely really want to ask, and you can help us by encouraging them to do that as well. So the last thing, even though we mentioned this in our first webinar, but kids are always wondering about this, and parents are too. What if we miss home? And I don't ever say what if. Everybody is going to miss home, and that's okay. And that's how we really want to try to approach home missing, is that it's normal. Everybody misses home. I miss home when I'm at camp. I miss my dogs. I miss my toilet. I miss my bed. And that's okay, because camp is different from home, but that doesn't mean that it's worse. It doesn't mean that it's better. It's just different. And so you want to talk about what those differences are ahead of time and what to do if your camper misses home. Should they write a letter? Can they read a book? Can they pull a puzzle out? Can they play cards? Can they go talk to their counselor about it? Just expect it. We're going to miss home, and it's okay. The worst thing that you could do, though, is tell your kids, hey, if you miss home, just give us a call. We'll come get you right away. And that really sets them up for disappointment, and it sets them up for not succeeding at camp. We want kids to be able to, make choices and be independent and realize that things can be different, and they can be harder, and they can be better, and they can just be different. Instead, really encourage them that, being away from home is a good thing, that you want them to try new things, that you want them to be away and to try new food. And so really do, write them letters ahead of time, be really upbeat, be positive, and talk to them ahead of time about missing home, and that it's really okay. I will also add that if you ever have a camper who is at camp and is not adjusting for any reason, we know that. If they're crying, if they're sad, we're going to talk to them. And my general rule of thumb is I go and I talk to them, and we talk about what we're missing, and I'm going to encourage them to stick it out for at least a day. So I tend to make this pact with them, and I say, hey, I realize you're missing home right now. I know mom or dad or your family wants you to be here. What we're going to do is I want you to try as hard as you can. I want you to try every activity. I want you to try to have as much fun. And I'm going to come back to you tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to you about how you're feeling. 99 out of 100 times when I come back to that camper the next day, they wave me away. They tell me they're fine. They say everything is cool. They've met a new friend. They've done something new. It is very, very rare when I make that agreement with a child that they say, I still am having a horrible time. And so what do I do then? I say, okay, talk to me about what's happening. And then I tell them, I understand you're not feeling good. I understand you're still missing home. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to call home, either myself or their counselor or the nurse. And we're going to call you, and we're going to say, I want to let you know that this is what's happening. What is your advice? What would you like for me to tell them? What can we do to make them succeed? Now, usually what happens is parents will say, let them know I want them to be at camp. I'm excited that they're having a good time, and I will see them on Saturday and I'll hear all about it. I'll then go back to the camper and tell them exactly that. And there might be a tear, but they usually nod their head and they go on. And at the end of the week, they're still fine and they're happy. It's just that thought about home sometimes that gets them stuck. And that is so rare that it ever goes beyond that. So don't ever hesitate to call me and ask. Know again that we want your kids to have a great time at camp. And we are going to do absolutely everything we can to make sure that that happens. And that includes calling you and asking for advice and letting you know what's going on. So don't worry about that. Know that that's what we want as well. And again, we'll keep that communication open as much as we possibly can. So a couple last things. I know we've been here a lot. There's a lot of information, but we are all ready for camp now. We're packed. We're expecting what we're expecting. We've practiced everything that we need. It's time to come to camp. Both Camp Kenan and Camp Weona have the exact same check-in times. It starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sundays, and it is set by alphabetical order. So it's between basically 3 and 4 in the afternoon. We just have it staggered so we don't have that many people at camp at the same time. Like last year, camp is low contact and it is drive-through. And so what that means is you will arrive at camp, you'll come into our parking lots, you will check in your camper. We'll say, yep, they're here. We'll ask any questions. We'll collect any last minute paperwork. And then you will drop off any medications that you have. have a conversation with the nurse if necessary, and then you will leave off luggage and you'll leave your camper and you'll drive off. This is, we have found, the easiest for you, the quickest and safest way to get all of our campers in and you out of camp in the best fashion. This isn't just about COVID. It's not about that. It's really about making things efficient and making them safe. At Weona especially, because there's 3 different units, all of the roads are one way. And so getting people in and out with cars without, running into each other and having to get off the side of the road. It also is easier in terms of saying goodbye. Because if you are lingering and the kids are worried, it can sometimes just exacerbate and lengthen that unease that a kid has. So we get them into camp, we get them doing activities as soon as possible. The kids get on the bounce pillow, they start playing Gaga, they learn each other's names. And as soon as the majority of them are here, they go into their cabins and they settle in, and then they go learn about camp. And we get them going as fast as possible. Checkout is the same procedure. They're gonna come into camp, you're gonna come into camp. For checkout, you show your ID, you're gonna pick up any medications, you're gonna pick up your luggage, and you're gonna pick up your camper. And we try to get you in and out on a Sunday morning, again, as quickly as possible so you can go home and you can spend time with your family. Expect that on the way home, they're going to be chattering a mile a minute. They're going to tell you everything that happened and the things they saw that they've never seen before and the songs they've sung, and that they even tried broccoli that they never did before. So expect that. Again, these checkout procedures are all listed in detail in your parent guide as well. Okay. Before I turn this last part back over to Adam, if you do find that you have any questions right now, I would suggest that you put them in the chat box, and then I'm going to start scrolling through them. And that's what we'll finish our evening with, is with some answers to some of those questions that maybe we weren't able to cover while we were talking.
Sounds good. So after tonight, if you have any, questions that you jotted down that, you want to save for maybe a longer conversation instead of the chat, feel free to reach out to us. If you can't tell, we both very much enjoy talking about camp and could talk for days and days about it. So please reach out, and we're happy to tell you as much as we can about what the summer is going to be like, and what our plan is, and get to know your campers. If you did not turn in your paperwork yet, which is probably most of us, we just got that out to everyone. Please make sure you send it back to the Lockport Y. The address is right there. You can do that for Kenan and Weona. So both camps are going to that Lockport Y. If you have questions on the paperwork, please let us know ahead of time so we can kind of steer you in the right direction, so we can answer it, just to make sure everything's in, all the boxes are checked. So get that to us as soon as possible, or reach out and to ask any questions. I always recommend, one of the first things, if there's any kind of applicable medications to bring or anything that Jennifer talked about, start that process right now. Especially just making doctor's appointments can be a challenge just to find appointment time. So start that now, kind of lead with that one is my suggestion, and then start filling out the rest of it. Please make sure, if you've been to camp before, if this is a returning camper, we need new paperwork for them for this year. So anything that we've gotten before, thank you for that. We need a fresh set for this year, just to know that it's all updated. Any phone numbers or email addresses have been updated to whatever they are now. So please make sure, completely new paperwork, even if you've been to camp before. Any good questions so far, Jen? We can.
Yeah, we do have a few. So again, if you do have a question, type it in the chat. I'm going to start all the way up at the beginning and try to answer as many as I can. If I'm not able to get to something, again, feel free to reach out to us by email. If you don't have any other questions and you've gotten all the info you want, you are more than free to leave. We just want to thank you so much for being here, for caring about the success of your camper, and for choosing us as a place for your camper to go this summer. We really look forward to seeing you very soon. So here we go. First question is, kids are going to both Kenan and Weona. You only need to do the paperwork once. So if you submit it to the Lockport Y, we will make sure to have copies available for both camps. So only one time, please. If you're unsure whether or not you have handed in all your paperwork, do please give the Lockport Y a call. They have them all at their front desk and they can let you know. Forms are generally due 3 weeks before your camper session. You can hand them in earlier than that. The most important thing is we really want to make sure that we're ready for medical or dietary needs that your camper might have. And so that's why we do ask for them ahead of time. If you are not able to do it 3 weeks ahead of time, that's fine. Just do it as soon as you can. You can always reach out to us and say, hey, they're in the mail, or we're going to drop them off. That's fine. We do prefer that you either drop them off or mail them in, just because sometimes if they're scanned, they're not as legible as if they are in their original format. So that's just a preference. If you can't do that, don't worry about it. One parent was concerned about media usage at camp, and that their kids have limited access to it at home, especially with social media. I think we probably answered that. Again, no electronics, so we don't have to worry about that. Just going through all these things that we're not supposed to bring to camp, including our dog Larry and our pet chicken. No tasers, no. Question is, are full coverage 2-piece swimsuits okay? Yes. We want your camper to be comfortable when they're in the water or out of the water. So whatever suit is they're going to feel most comfortable in. They do jump in the water a lot. So again, what they feel comfortable with is fine. A question, and this came up at open house as well. At Kenan, we used to have a candy store that the kids could go to after meals. They haven't had that for, I think, probably about 10 years. So no, we don't have it any longer. The Y has a huge focus on healthy eating and physical activity. And so we try to limit candy as much as possible. That's not to say that we don't have dessert. I believe very firmly in s'mores, and we will make sure to have those. Do all ages do activities together? They usually will do it in their cabin groups. So the kids that are in their cabin and other kids of their same ages tend to do their rotations together. We do have evening activities though, where the whole camp participates. And so everybody will be part of those. Those tend to be the activities that are theme related as well. Question about showers and whether or not they're private. Yes, they are not, the open type showers. All the showers are private, have doors or have curtains on them. Pickup, so drop off at camp is on Sunday and pickup is on Saturday. Just clarifying for that in case I did misspeak. Again, pickup is on Saturdays, drop off is on Sundays, unless you are first experience camper, and then you might have a pickup or a drop off on Wednesday. Question about boy counselors and girl counselors. So in general, boy counselors are in the boys' cabins and girls counselors are in the girls' cabins. The only time that may be an exception would be with our very youngest first experience counselors, depending on how many of those younger kids we have. So with our 5, 6, 7-year-olds, they may have a female counselor or a male counselor. It all depends. At Weona, especially, all the first experience campers tend to stay in Hyde Lodge, and so they all stay together. So they have both a male and a female counselor. Somebody said they weren't able to attend the open house, and that's okay. Lots of people weren't. We had lots of people that were there, but we totally understand it doesn't fit in with everybody's schedule. We don't have another one scheduled, but if you reach out to either Adam or I, we may be able to arrange a time that you could come out. You can also look on the Facebook group pages, and there will be pictures that you can see from camp, as well as if you look at these webinars, there's also pictures from camp as well. Should kids bring a bath towel and a swim towel? Good question. I actually advise the thinnest type of towel you can get. So a swim towel or like a beach towel is perfectly fine, not a really, really thick one. One that you can hang up on a line and it will dry fairly quickly is usually the best. Okay, so a thinner type towel, and a couple of them are usually beneficial. So one can be drying while you're using the other one. Okay, I think that is the majority of the questions. If I have missed something, please let me know. The other question I'm seeing up here has to do with pictures, and hopefully we answered this. Yes, we will try to post as many pictures as possible throughout the week. And again, like Adam said, we cannot follow every child. We can't get everybody's, full adventure while they're at camp, but we do try to kind of get a smattering of all the different activities. What we're having for meals, kids at archery, kids at the pool, doing all things like that. Somebody was saying that Sam's Club has like a 2-pack of microfiber towels. Those are really good. Shirt sizes, if you go to do those shirt orders, there are both adult and youth sizes for the t-shirts. It is adult sizes only, the sweatshirts for the hoodies. So if you have a smaller child who normally take a youth size, you might want to take whatever the smallest adult size that there is, like an adult small, and have them grow into it a little bit. I tried, somebody else was asking about pictures. I try on the first day of camp, once the campers are there, to take a group photo. So we try to go through our different cabins and take a group photo of the kids at their cabin. I try to do that on the first day and the last day, so the kids have a picture with their cabins. Yes. The 125th green t-shirts, I believe those only come in adult sizes. Okay. If there are any other questions that we weren't able to answer, please feel free to reach out to us. We will also continue to, if there's a question that's been coming up frequently, posting that to the Facebook group pages. And if you haven't joined those yet, the links are in the parent guides. So thank you again. Anything you would like to add, Adam?
No, it was really nice to be able to talk about camp and answer some questions and share our plans for the summer. And I look forward to meeting everyone soon.
Perfect. And thank you for everybody who stayed with us the whole time. I really appreciate it. And we really look forward to seeing your campers soon. So I'm going to say goodbye. Everybody, have a wonderful evening.
Bye, everyone.